So without any further ado, I'm gonna introduce you to our member today, Daniel.
Hi.
Okay, so first of all, you told me earlier that you have been a member for 1 year today. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the first ever lifestyle event that we attended was the first case study of 2020. So it's been just about exactly a year.
Perfect, perfect. And there are some beautiful pictures of you and your family there. Tell us a little about who are the people on the pictures?
Yeah, so the picture there, it's me and my mom, and the picture on the left and the picture in the middle of us on trips, and then on the right, myself and my girlfriend and some of our other friends in Mexico at a wedding. And yeah, my mom is the reason that I joined. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So tell us, how come you joined Lifestyles Unlimited, and why did you decide to join?
So my mom had been on the fence about joining for a while and had talked to me off and on about it. I had been I wasn't living in Houston at the time. I was doing some consulting work in Las Vegas, and I'd come back after that contract ended, and she told me, I'm really interested in doing this, and I was convinced that it was a scam. But she was asking and asking. I said, okay, let's go. We'll go to a case study. We'll go to the 2-day, and I'm sure I can figure out how it's a scam. I'm sure we'll see, behind the curtain and figure out what's really going on here. And yeah, 1 year later, we still haven't figured out how it's a scam. So maybe we
Okay.
will at some point, but so far all we've done is be successful. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So this house that you're gonna present to us today is actually one of the many houses. But tell us, how did you find this house?
Well, I found this house just the same way that I found all the other houses, which is via a lifestyles agent, Jennifer McCormick, um, who, without her, nothing that we have done would have been possible. She's amazing. But yes, so in, for the people that don't know, when you become a member, that you can join at a certain level and you'll get these email blasts with the properties. And this property, it's actually in Lake Jackson, which is kind of a suburb of Houston. And she told me, she said, hey, this is a good one. And by this point, we had already purchased a few properties, that she had found us. And so we pretty much knew it was a good idea. But we went and took a look at it and ran our numbers, and we went from there.
Okay. So this is not your house number one, right? So how long from when you joined until you bought house number one?
So we joined at the end of January, and then went to the expo in February, and then the world changed in March, I guess. So we were kind of put everything on hold right when COVID was coming on full blast. And then we finally mustered up the courage to buy our first single family in June. Um, and then from there, we bought a single family, about one a month. So this was our third property that we purchased.
So you actually started buying just when COVID-19 just hit and everyone was thinking that the world was going down completely. And you have really made a good job to do that. I actually still remember the initial consultation I had with you when you joined back in, I believe that it was in May. So yeah. Okay. So let's return to Birch Street. I have some pictures there. So what were your thoughts when you walked into this house?
So we really like this house. We like that it was brick. It's on a really nice street in Lake Jackson, and The house was not nearly as bad inside as some other houses that we had seen and that we had purchased, but it was extremely dated. So you can see there those yellow countertops, and they had put in some newer appliances, but pretty much nothing else in the house had been changed since the 60s, I guess.
Danielle, why didn't you keep pea yellow countertops? Why did you change that?
You know,
isn't that good
it was
enough for
tough.
rental?
It was tough. It was a big debate. So I didn't really explain this, but so my mom convinced me to join. We both joined, and basically she has a lot more money and almost no time, and I have a lot more time and almost no money. So we made a good duo. And luckily, I guess the calmer heads prevailed, and we did not keep these beautiful yellow countertops, even though I wanted to. But
yeah, they actually look to be in pretty good shape. It's amazing.
The house was very well kept, just to some degree, but obviously we couldn't keep some of these things. So we listened to Evelina, and I listened to Jennifer McCormick, and we made a few changes in the house, as you can see from these photos. So
and we see that. Sorry, David.
So I just want to make sure the new people understand. So I just want to explain the model of what Evelina taught him was this. Dell teaches this model: best product, best price will get the best people at a particular price point. I want the new people to understand we're not slumlords. We don't do this work ourselves. We hire contractors to do the work. Did you do any of this work, Daniel?
not a single thing.
Good. You just wrote checks, right? Good student. So I want you to understand that when you're from the outside looking in for the first time tonight, best product, best price means we're not slumlords. We make everything beautiful. That's why he's upgrading it. There's people out there that will rent it out with the yellow stuff. That's not lifestyles, okay? So he's following the model. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. And also, to David's point, how we decide, for anyone wondering out there, how we decide what kind of level we rehab, we actually look at the comparables. That is something that Daniel is looking at, and that as we as a mentor can have a discussion, like what does your competition look like in the area? And from there, we kind of decide where to go to achieve that best product, best price. So Daniel, I see that you did a lot of cosmetic change here, some beautiful granite countertops, painting, flooring, and things like that. Did you do any of the big ticket items like electrician, foundation, something like that?
Yeah, so we did a fair amount of foundation work. We changed the house from having gas to being fully electric, and in one of the previous photos, it was just very dark entryway in sort of a formal sitting room, which was popular in homes at the time. That picture there, so we actually removed a wall and opened it up so it had the kind of the open floor plan. It's more like to speak to your point about looking at the competition on the street for best product and best price. So there's a builder who had built 6 brand new houses on the same street, and we've thought at the time that they were going to be they were just looking for buyers to sell those houses to, but he rented those houses.
Oh.
And so right when our house was about to be finished and come online, the builder put the for rent signs out and had like a very high price point for the houses. So at first we thought this was great because we were not going to be anywhere near that because it was an exorbitant price. But then when they didn't rent, they kept lowering and lowering and lowering the price, and it actually made it kind of tough for us to find a renter for a little while, because it was a brand new house with all bills paid and a couple of tricky things there. But that's why we actually spent a little bit more and kind of modernized the house to be the best product and best price. And we ended up with terrific tenants who we couldn't be happier. So
okay, perfect. So how much did you spend on the rehab on this house?
So we spent $36,000 on the rehab. So more than we initially had thought we were going to, but with having the that issue I just described with the brand new houses going up for rent on the same street. We spent a little bit more so that we would be best product, best price.
And how many weeks did this rehab take?
The rehab took almost 7 weeks.
Okay. And you did what we called a hard money loan, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
For new members, that is something that David is going to teach you in the 2-day. We utilize a hard money lender to help us pay for some of the rehab to keep our out of pocket down and to be able to get a really good cash flow by the end of it. And that is really the key to this. And David is going to teach you the nitty gritty of that. It's nothing to be afraid of, and it's really working really well. And as you see on the numbers here, it is working. So I'm going to go through these numbers, and then we're going to speak a little bit about it. So you bought this house. The purchase price was $124K. It appraised for $208K. Wow. So that left with an equity the day you bought the house, it left with an equity on $84,000K. You had a rehab of $36,000 and closing cost of $11,780. And that high cost for new members here is because we had that double closing, so hard money and another one. So those closing cost amount are right, and it's the price we pay to get to $17,600 out of pocket. That is really low in today's market, and it's really nice. That is leaving Daniel with a return on capital gain on 205%. Nothing for your people out there in the stock market is going to compare to this. You are leasing this out for $1,715 a month. That is $20,580 a year. You have a cash flow of $516, and that is a little bit over $6,000 per year. The cash on cash return on that is 35%. And for some perspective for new members, normally what we kind of see, it's an average is between maybe 18-20% cash on cash return. So these numbers are awesome. Well done, Daniel. My first question to you is, was these the numbers that you were looking at when you went and see the house the first time?
No, not even close. So I think initially we had hoped that the house was going to appraise for 185. So having the appraisal come in that high was absolutely a home run. It appraised high for the hard money appraisal, and then it appraised even higher when we refinanced. The rent that we had hoped to get was $1,600, and we've been very lucky. I've been really pushing the rents over what we expect to get on all the houses that we've had so far.
Yeah.
And I think just because of that best product, best price, we've been able to exceed our expectations on those. So we were really thrilled.
Yeah. So when you look at this house, it was more towards our average cash on cash and out of pocket. And then that appraisal came back higher. Again, for all these new people who doesn't understand what I'm talking about now, is David is going to teach you that, but it's a matter of knowing what you're doing in the market, rehabbing right, and then obviously utilizing your mentor and your vendors and everyone on there to do things right. And then in with the number aligns, and you get these awesome numbers. And people, this was during COVID-19, where everyone was super scared. Everyone was just laying around thinking the world is going to end. And Daniel went out there and he did it. And this was his return. Congratulations, Daniel. Well done.
Yeah.
And it helped also a lot. A nice thing that the Lifestyles realtors do is that they're generally conservative with the numbers, which is always good. We would like those pleasant surprises with the good appraisals versus the other way around. So again, Jennifer McCormick.
Do you realize, Daniel, you wrecked my speech?
Oh,
I said,
sorry.
hope you make an 8%, 100%. You go and make a 200% return. So that's a good job. And,
Okay.
and do you know if you make over 100% return, do you know the technical term in the industry for that?
Do I?
Yeah, do you know what it is?
You'll have to remind me.
Do you know, Evelina?
Yeah, pee in your pants excited.
Being your pants exciting.
It's that good.
Did Trump give you the 200% return or did Biden do it?
Yeah,
Danielle did it, right?
he did.
And I feel very happy. I don't feel as though I should like feel as though this was all me, because it really wasn't.
That's a team effort.
I
Yes,
just
I
followed the
understand
playbook. I just followed what Evelina told me. I followed what the realtors told me. I followed what the advice I got from my contractors. So I mean, I didn't know anything about real estate before.
And that's the powerful thing, is what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, you build a team around you. Your ego didn't get in the way that you knew more than Evelina, who's walked hundreds of houses. You understand? You worked with your mentors, you worked with your vendors, you built that team. But the biggest thing you did, even though you've never done this before, is you took action. That's the big thing, is during COVID, while everybody else was scared, you actually stepped up and did it, you and your mom. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But you didn't buy just one house so far since COVID, right?
No, we've been once we got started, we got busy. So
Yeah. So let's take a look at the portfolio slide, David, and I'm going to leave this to you. And just before Daniel, I'm going to leave it to him. But first, I want to say, remember, people, he has been a member less than a year, and this is what he accomplished. Go ahead, Daniel, and take us through your investments.
Yeah, in 1 year, it's awesome.
yeah, we've been really fortunate. So we were nervous, we were scared during the beginning of COVID time, and we got very lucky to. So what I did was I wanted to
I
learn.
got to stop you right now. You said we got very lucky. It is not luck.
No.
Luck is where opportunity meets preparedness. You were prepared, you had it all lined up. You just followed the map. People think it's luck, but when you can make an extra 30 grand a year, that is not luck. People in the stock market, that's luck. If they hit a good day, if they invested in Tesla and it went up in value, but then they invested in Ford, it went down in value. That's luck. This isn't luck. This is following a map. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we did. We followed the map. We once we jumped, we decided to jump. We really jumped. So we bought our first house in Rosenberg, and that was a great one to get started on. And then we just kept on going. And once we felt comfortable that one project was far enough along that we were ready to start the next one, and then we would go and get started with that one and get started with that one. And we got going fast enough that we did have a few people telling us that maybe we need to slow down.
Well, that happens with new members. We're like, you're going a little too fast. Let me slow you down a little bit. Sometimes that happens.
And that's
Because
good.
what will happen is, well, people in 2 properties in rehab at once or 3, I'm like, you're getting a little bit more than what you should handle right now. We got to worry about your debt to income ratio and some stuff like that. So sometimes you got to worry about that. So, yeah.
And so
But you did it. You did it, Danny. You created over 30,000 K in annual cash flow. I would say that is a good chunk of money, and it's amazing to accomplish in maybe it's 7 or 8 months, right? And you also have some good equity.
Yeah, you made extra 7 grand equity. Yeah.
Yeah, and that equity is Daniel, for new people out there. Daniel is going to be able to realize that equity in the coming years, and probably take some money out and then buy even more houses to get to his goal of his annual cash flow. So yeah, perfect. So
real quick, I want to ask one question, Daniel. There's new people watching tonight. It's a new year. They're scared as hell. Biden just won the presidency, allegedly. And because he just won, people are scared. What would you suggest to new members that are just watching today? You got over your fear during COVID, during the worst time to get started. And I love that example. Is no different than us changing governments and everything. So what would be your advice to new people that are watching the first time tonight?
Yeah, I would say there's always going to be uncertainty and there's always going to be scary times. But luckily, the mentors and the education is so good. So we really dug deep into that until we felt like, okay, do we really know what's going on here? I think we do. I think we're ready. And then we asked a mentor, and we asked the other people on our teams that, are we ready? And like, you've been ready, let's go. So the biggest moment was when we finally left and did the first house.
Yeah.
And we realized that we could do this. And since then, each one got a little easier, and you start to feel more sure. And there's plenty of hiccups, broken sewer lines and all of that good stuff. But that's the other amazing part of your team, is that you've got somebody to call. They've heard this 100 times, and
you've never done this before, right? You or your mom, you never did rental real estate before. I want them to know that too, the new people, because they're like, this isn't a guy who did it 20 times before or something. He's new to this.
Yeah. I'm getting to learn what a P-trap is. I'm getting to learn all this weird stuff about how to build houses and what houses look like when they're torn apart, and all of these good things. And the best part is that I don't, I'm learning those things, but I don't need to know them, because that's what people on my team are experts in.
Yeah, and as a mentor, I really love when people are not coming in with too much experience, because a lot of people need to relearn things. So if anyone out there thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing, I didn't even know what a title company was when I started. So just follow the map. Okay,
because they didn't have those over in Sweden, where you're from originally.
Yeah. So Daniel, who's on your team? What people helped you achieve this amazing investment?
Well, who number one is there, Evelina. So thank you so much for all the help and answering all the many emails and many phone calls. I think I've said it once, but I need to say it 100 more times. Jennifer McCormick, she's a rock star, and without her, none of this would have been possible. She really took us under her wing and found a lot of houses for us. David Hoke at Red Door, Alicia over at AMP Lending, they've really taken care of us. Kellen at Searchers Capital, again, they've been working like crazy for us, and it really shows. Andrew at Horsley Home Inspection, he's found a lot of weird things in these houses for us that you don't expect to find, and as long as you know about them going in, then you can manage. And Randall Taylor at CNC Insurance, he's taken also lots of phone calls from me about which dog breeds are allowed in these houses under my insurance, and hey, what's going on? I've just had a broken sewer line. What can I do? And Merlin and Melissa at Blue Star Construction, they've done every project for us, and we hope to do a bunch more with them. So
yeah, perfect. So how has Lifestyles Unlimited changed your life? What is the biggest difference today from when you joined?
So the biggest difference from when I joined is that I can see on the horizon how I can get to retirement, and whatever retirement means for any different person. But before, I mean, I've had a very good job before, and I knew it was going to take me a very long time to get to retirement. And I can now see I've got a plan, and I've got the tools that I can get there when I want to. So that's been, it's almost a little scary, but it's been pretty amazing.
So you learned you can live life on your terms, not a boss's.
Yeah, I mean,
you can control it.
I may work more right now than I did before, but I am I'm working for me. Yeah, like when I go and work extra hours, or go and doing things for stuff on the weekends, like, well, that's okay, because if I don't do it, then I don't make money. And I can see that this method is working.
Okay, so what's next? What up? You now have all these houses. What is on the horizon in the future?
Keep growing. So we're still growing. We're still looking for more houses. So my mom is already invested passively in a few different apartment deals. I've got to grow a little bit more my own pile of money before I'm ready to do that. But that is step next, because you talk about your plan towards retirement, and I know that in my ideal retirement, I'm not going to be going to check on broken sewer lines in the middle of the night and those kind of things. So I think passive is going to be the way to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Okay.
we hope that's next.
So
Okay, do you want some
thank you,
questions,
Daniel, for today. And we are ready for some questions.
Jacob, are you asking questions today?
I am asking questions
All
today.
right. He's in the green room.
Yeah, the green room. There we go. Okay, so the first kind of question, we got a bunch of them, so I'm going to try and hit some highlights here so we don't use up the
Get
entire
like 3
time.
or 4.
And Daniel, I think you got the right idea, drinking some wine right there too. What was the interest rate on the final loan, and was it a 30-year loan?
Yeah, so it's a conventional. It was a conventional home mortgage. Is what we ended up with after. That's what we refinanced out of our hard money loan as quickly as possible, and luckily we just followed the playbook that Lifestyles teaches on how you can prepare, start that process as early as you can, and work with your team. And yeah, I think that I'm trying to remember what the final one is.
No,
It's like
okay. So the key
37.
really, the key is about the numbers. This is a numbers game all day long. And we know before we go out and look at the house, we are getting pre-approved by our lender. We know the rate, we know what we're going to pay in closing costs. So we are not getting any surprises when we're sitting at the closing table. We know way before that, all these numbers we went through, we know way before that. So the rate is what the rate is, and we are calculating accordingly. And if the
Yeah, I
numbers
think
make sense, we buy.
I got the quote for the rate on my conventional the day that I closed on the hard money side. So
Yeah.
the day that I bought the house, we already knew what our terms were going to be for the refinance that was going to happen 6-8 weeks down the road.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, David, you're muted.
No sound. David, no sound.
David.
Okay,
Muted.
sorry. I just want to say something. Whoever asked that question, it's irrelevant, because your credit score and his credit score are different. It could be 3%, it could be 4%, it could be 4.8%. What really matters is what Evelina was alluding to. What is my return on investment? He's making 30% a year, so the interest rate doesn't matter. It's what is my return on the 17 grand I put out? If I'm making 500 bucks a month, that's 30% tax-free income. That's pee in your pants exciting. So it doesn't matter if it's 3, 4, or 5%. That's irrelevant. That's like a number for a sewer line fix or a kitchen. You're looking at the problem the wrong way. I'm just saying, a lot of times people get into minutia. That's not important.
Yeah.
The end result is.
Yeah. Another question was, how was the house purchased below market? Everything is so high. Was it a foreclosure or probate? What was it?
So this was an off-market deal that had come from a wholesaler to a Lifestyles agent, and then to me.
Yeah. So folks, basically this was a distressed asset. It was pea yellow. It was horrible looking inside. No retail buyer wanted it, so he got it below market. That's why. He had to put in 30 grand. Susie Homemaker buying a home doesn't put 30 grand in the house to buy it. So you got to understand, this is what I'm going to teach you this weekend, how to steal a property below market value. Remember I told you that in my speech?
Yeah.
Great question.
Here's one from Ken. Was the fact that there was a new construction neighborhood a factor in getting a great appraisal on this property?
Well, man, you'd have to ask the appraiser. But I think
There's
that,
probably apples and oranges. They probably
yeah,
didn't compare.
I don't think that the appraiser would have used those new builds
Yeah,
as comps.
let me
So
elaborate on that just so you know, Danielle, because you might not know. You have to be plus or minus pretty much 5 years. So something built in 2020 is not going to compare to your one built in 1964. even though it's in that same neighborhood. They probably didn't compare that. They probably used other like in kind properties. I'm assuming that, but you can go back and look at your appraisal and see for sure.
Yeah. And again, like Daniel said, we are being conservative, right?
Yeah.
So we are not taking the best house in this subdivision and think that this house, our house, is going to be worth that. We are going in conservative and taking that. So yeah.
But so far on all of our houses, we have had the appraisal come in at least a little bit higher on the second appraisal when we do the refinance. And I think that just goes to show that best product, best price, like following the playbook and doing like we're, not being a slumlord, putting in granite, making it as nice as the nicest house on the street. The appraisers come back and they're, pleasantly surprised, and it shows in the appraisal value.
So even though that sounds scary to the new people out there, oh my God, they built all these brand new houses, mine's not going to appraise as high or whatever. Real estate is very forgiving. We make money 5 different ways. Even if one isn't as good, the other 4 will make up for it. Just so you know, that's what we love about real estate. And because he followed the model, because they were conservative, it turned out even better. Even with that anomaly that the new houses didn't really affect him at all. They were running much higher than his, so it wasn't really the same product.
And my tenants love the street because of the new construction there, and they've only been there for a few months, and they already asked if they can stay longer than a year. So, I mean,
absolutely they can. And Daniel, how do you thank them next year from renewing their lease? What do you do to thank them?
Well, I'm hoping that they're going to stay for a very long time.
But you're going to do what for them? Raise their rents.
Raise the rent.
That's
yeah.
how you thank them. Come on, guys, it's a business.
Hey, I haven't been a member for a full year yet. I haven't had to do.
Okay, yeah.
We are going to get to that.
Cool to Evelina, right? She'll tell you that.
Going to get to that.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Do you manage yourself or do you use property management?
I manage myself. That's why I'm taking the sewer line calls. But the plan would be that potentially, if the portfolio grows large enough, that I will move on to doing different things and potentially not be managing that in the future.
And
but
that's
right
something I'm going to teach you how to do this weekend, how to manage yourself, how to screen your residents. You learn all that. You don't have to. You can hire a third party, but he wants more of the lion's share. He's learning from it, and he's making more money by doing it. It's not a lot of work once you get it going.
Yeah, and I wanted to do it, especially at the beginning, so that I know every detail. Just that's my personality. So.
Okay.
Yeah, how are you collecting the rent? Are you having to do it via checks, or you have to pick up mail? How are you doing it?
So I use an online bill pay basically for almost everyone, and so they just hits my bank account.
Yeah, and that's what we teach in the seminar, whether you use rent track or there's a million different ways of doing that. So the days of us going and collecting rents, that's not what happens.
No.
We want our time. We teach you how to run it like a business.